What is Industry 4.0 and what does it mean for you? Technology is driving change across all areas of society. Not only do we increasingly use it and even rely on it in our personal lives, we also find our workplaces digitally evolving, with more and more processes now being undertaken using technology. This change is known as the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 will see many tasks that were once performed by us now being automated. With the collection and analysis of real-time data, artificial intelligence, and the ability for all components of a production line to talk to each other, production can be really efficient and personalized according to customer needs. But what does this mean for us? With increased automation, our time will be freed up for concentrating on more complex tasks. We will need a workforce who are capable of building, programming, and developing these technologies, but also making sure we are applying them to our lives in an ethical way. There are core skills that we can offer, incredibly important, ensuring effective communication, problem solving, and supporting change management in this digital environment. There will also be a greater need for joint working across disciplines, creating new innovations. The future job market will be looking for graduates with an open mind to explore the unknown future possibilities. We will all need to develop our skills in order to embrace, adapt to this ever-changing environment. What will you do to make sure you are ready and have the right skills to thrive in the Fourth Industrial Revolution?
Your jungle. Audio Jungle.
The fourth industrial revolution has begun, and you have the chance to be part of it. This isn't going to be like before. It's not about the steam that powered our factories in the first revolution, or the mass production model that dominated the second, or even the emergence of computer-driven systems from the third revolution that we're living in today. Industry 4.0 is about connectivity. It's an opportunity to radically change the way industry responds to the needs of society. As previous industrial revolutions were led by innovations in manufacturing processes and systems, the advancement of Industry 4.0 will be driven by a smart, interconnected, pervasive environment. The opportunities for disruption are huge, and those left behind will feel it acutely. There is still space for leaders of this new revolution to emerge, but the race has already started. Understanding what current leaders are doing will help you join them. KPMG formally examined, and it revealed some thought-provoking findings. Our research highlighted a number of areas that current Industry 4.0 leaders are focusing on. Leaders are planning ahead with clear strategic vision, driven by performance and tying investment to proven opportunities for growth, progress, and innovation. They are focused on discovering how smart products and processes can be developed. Integration is key. The major players are moving away from isolated silo-driven development, which limits scope and value of new projects. Instead, they are moving towards large-scale and proactive integration across their enterprise and among their customers, supply base, and products. To ensure they are aware of every possible opportunity Industry 4.0 technology has to offer. Perhaps most importantly, they are not afraid to think big and act bold. This means nurturing innovation, developing disruptive thought processes aimed at devastating the status quo, and looking for opportunity in every element of their value chain, from which products are designed and how they are produced, to who they are sold to and how they are purchased. Your organization may be radically different in the future, with a range of products, services, and processes you can't currently predict. Do you want to join the leaders of Industry 4.0? Can you afford not to? Then our advice is plan ahead. Fight radical change with integrated radical action. And embrace the fact that it's time for manufacturers to step up and start making smart, bold moves. If you don't, you could be left behind. You have this chance.
What is Industry 4.0 and what does it mean for you? Technology is driving change across all areas of society. Not only do we increasingly use it and even rely on it in our personal lives, we also find our workplaces digitally evolving, with more and more processes now being undertaken using technology. This change is known as the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 will see many tasks that were once performed by us now being automated. With the collection and analysis of real-time data, artificial intelligence, and the ability for all components of a production line to talk to each other, production can be really efficient and personalized according to customer needs. But what does this mean for us? With increased automation, our time will be freed up for concentrating on more complex tasks. We will need a workforce who are capable of building, programming, and developing these technologies, but also making sure we are applying them to our lives in an ethical way. There are core skills that we can offer that technology cannot replace. The human touch is going to be incredibly important, ensuring effective communication, problem solving, and supporting change management in this digital environment. There will also be a greater need for joint working across disciplines, creating new innovations. The future job market will be looking for graduates with an open mind to explore the unknown future possibilities. We will all need to develop our skills in order to embrace, adapt to this ever-changing environment. What will you do to make sure you are ready and have the right skills to thrive in the fourth industrial revolution?
Jungle.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome for today's virtual event, the Basic Statistical Analysis Using MS Excel, a webinar for education researchers. Handa na ba? Ngunit bago tayo magsimula ay ako nga po pala si Susette H. Buesa from BSED 3A Mathematics major. May I call on Ivy Estera for the prayer?
Place yourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear God, we thank you for all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. Thank you for allowing us to meet in this webinar. May we ask for blessing that this activity will be successful in the future. May we also bring invaluable knowledge from this activity when we leave this virtual venue. We pray that you bless all the people in charge of this activity, and their guests and participants as well. Your generous blessing will be the success of this webinar. We know that you can do nothing. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Followed by the national.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
For the opening remarks. I'm sorry. For the opening remarks, we have Mr. JP D. Bolaños, our President of NEC.
Hello, sound check. Good afternoon to everyone. Narinig po ba ako?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes po.
Yeah, okay. Welcome to our webinar, prepared by the Temper Evaluator Hub. So, first of all, I would like to give recognize our audience who take time to listen today, to our guest speaker who free his time to educate us, and to our professor who always guide us, and also those people behind the development of this webinar, and most especially our loving God who always keep us safe, away from harm. Hopefully it will end well. So education today was challenged by many circumstances, typhoons, floods, and other natural calamities and pandemic that created a huge impact to our education system today. These challenges enable our system to create unique strategies on reaching our students and provide them an education they need, yet keep them safe. Adapting in the new normal gives technology a great role in attaining the quality education that we need. Today, we will use it to educate everyone. This webinar wanted to educate you about the statistics on data analysis. Please take time to listen carefully and understand the topic because surely it will be very helpful to you when you conduct your future studies and in your chosen profession. Once again, welcome and thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bolaños. Now, once again, hello everyone and welcome to virtual event for today, Basic Statistical Analysis using MS Excel, a webinar for education researchers. I'm so glad to have you here and excited for new learning and experiences that we're gonna have for today. Now, before I introduce our guest speaker, I would like to inform all of you that we are live at Number Evaluators Club Facebook page and YouTube channel. Joining us today is a dedicated and a talented teacher. He is a senior high school teacher and also a teacher 3 from Catanduanes, Mr. George Victor Salas. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon sa lahat.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, narinig niyo po ako?
Afternoon po. Yes, sir, George. We can hear you.
Yes po.
Yes, sir.
Afternoon po.
Sir.
Ayan, so... Kumusta kayo dyan sa Sorsogon?
Okay lang naman po.
Okay naman. Ayan. So, ano po, so, before ang lahat, no, gusto ko pasalamatan ang si Brother Aldrin, si professor nyo sa kakaibang opportunity na binigay sa akin. Yan. Bali si professor nyo kasi, bali kasama ko rin kasi siya sa, sa school na pinapasukan namin ngayon. Ayan. Let me open my mic muna. Ay, para makita niyo ako. Maandar ba yung camera? Ayan. Ayan. Para makita niyo muna ako before tayo pag-usapan yung topic natin today. So, hello. So, ayan. Ako po si George Sales. George Victor Sales po. Ayan. So, live po ako ngayon sa aking lungga sa Catanduanes. Yan. So despite na tayo ay dinaanan po ng 3 bagyo, yan, learning never stops. Yan. So I could see that we have at least 74 participants right now. Yan. So I hope na makatulong itong ating pag-uusapan ngayon, no? Sa inyong whatever ang pwede ninyong pagkagamitan nitong matututunan nyo ngayong araw. And so far, lahat ba kasali dito ngayon sa webinar? Puro mga education students?
Yes po, sir.
Ayan, education. Yeah. So puro kayo mga math majors?
Hindi po, sir.
Hindi naman
po,
pala.
sir.
Okay. Sige, I'm just getting a grasp of the population para alam ko kung paano natin i-address yung different needs natin today sa ating webinar. So, konting background about sa akin. Baka kasi curious kayo. Ayan. So, ayan, alam niyo na taga-Catanduanes ako. Alam niyo yung name ko. Bale, I've been doing statistics. As a trade also, ginagawa ko rin tong bali sideline, no? Kasi it's a skill at the same time you can do this as a trade since my undergrad days, ayan. And then na-enrich ko siya sa kakabasa, ayan, till I learn techniques, ayan. So going trade ito, you can earn a living from being a statistician. Pero, syempre, it also takes a huge amount of courage. Kasi you have to read a lot. Kasi one of the roles of being a statistician is not only to understand the numbers that you are trying to treat, but also to understand if ethical ba yung ginagawa natin bilang statistician. So I've been teaching for 10 years, more than 10 years. Ang tiniteach ko po ay physics. I also teach math. I also do research. Yan. So I advise researchers naman po. Yan. So, if you may, I would like to share my screen today. So ang gagawin lang natin, chill-chill lang tayo, no, mga guys. If ever you want to ask a question, you could put it in the chat box. Lalo kung masyadong bumibilis na yung ano ko, kung sa tingin niyo nagpapaka-Eminem na yung pagsasalita ko, no, gadrapper na yung pagsasalita ko, just remind me, no? Sige, let's share my screen. Wait. Okay, paano nga ito? Present now. Here. Okay, nakikita na po yung screen ko po. Hello guys, nakikita niyo na po?
Opo.
Yes, sir.
Opo.
Ayan.
Yes, sir.
Sige. Yan. Kasi lahat naman tayo nakakaranas ng ano ngayon, di ba? Medyo problema sa internet. So, let's communicate para magkaintindihan tayo. So, I'll share this transparency later, no? Yung ano. So, I will go back and forth sa PowerPoint tsaka sa Excel kasi mas maganda pag nakikita niyo kung paano ginagawa, no? So, today's training is all about basic statistical analysis using MS Excel, a free webinar online training. So, yan. So, ang magiging scope ng natin ngayon, ng ating pag-uusapan sa statistics, I'll be talking about a little bit on background on statistics. Then I'll talk about testing using correlation and differences. No? Kasi in educational research, you will be using that a lot, especially dun sa magpo-propose ng kanilang thesis writing. If you're going to have your thesis. So let's start. Okay. So, why do we need to do statistics? Yan una natin. So, let's start with defining what statistics. Well, in layman's term, we say that statistics is a branch of mathematics that deals with interpreting the probability of a possibility to happen using numerical data. So yan po yung general definition ng statistics. If you're going to put in layman's term, we are trying to use data, numerical data, in order to predict whether a certain event may be possible, or we are trying to measure something against another measure, just to see whether our hypothesis could work or not. Well, statistics, being a branch of mathematics, is a science, but statistics is also an art as well, most especially when you're going to report the statistical results. Ito yung minsan na napansin ko sa how many years na pag-teach ko rin ng research, that students actually see statistics as a science. Totoo, ito science, but science being science, hindi pwedeng walang art din. So you have to learn also, you need also to learn the craft on how to explain your results in such a way it is tragically beautiful to the ears. Yan yung naalala kong sinasabi lagi ng professor namin na when you explain your statistical results, it could be dreadful but at the same time beautiful. No, maleficent daw ang dating ng pag-explain, di ba? Maganda pero dark. Ganun ang kanyang punto. So, students, including researchers, dreaded statistics because of its inclination to numbers, di ba? Lalo kung if ever since you're in elementary, you really had a kind of stigma na hindi mo naiintindihan yung numbers. Usually, statistics is becoming a big no-no sa research sa kanila. But hindi sa lahat ng oras pwede tayong tumakbo sa statistics eh. We are actually doing statistics every day, di ba? So for example, when pinag-usapan natin grades, di ba? Our grades is actually you're going to talk about the mean of your grades just to determine whether you're going to pass or fail the semester, di ba? Kung ang final grade mo ay 3, no? Kung ang sistema nyo ay 1.5 na sistema, kung 3, then most probably pasang-awa ka. And that is already statistics because you're trying to determine whether yung grades mo lalampas ba ng bababa ba sa 3 o tataas pa ba sa 3. Diba? That's already now a simpler way of looking into statistics. Moreover, it also been a dilemma to researchers on the proper way how to report statistical results. I don't know sa inyong institution, but because I also try to read some researches in our own university here, may mga research, there are times na yung how statistical reports are being presented, nakakalimutan nila yung proper way. In the Philippines, we use the APA way of presenting results. Pag-uusapan natin mamaya. So, chillax lang. So, merong standard po lahat. And being APA, nandun na rin po yung art ng pag-report niya para maintindihan ng reader. Remember, when you present a statistical report, it is not about how complicated you report it, but it is how practical you report the statistics. Diba? Ito yung minsan nakakalimutan nating part sa paggawa ng research. Research and statistics go hand in hand. They don't need to be complicated when it comes to reporting. It needs to be comprehensive but practical. Yung nagsusulat ka, hindi para sa mataas na tao. Nagsusulat ka para maintindihan ng tao. And that also is true with statistics. And statistics is more of a positivist paradigm. Kung saan in the positivist paradigm, we believe that everything is rational. And one of the measures of rationality is by presenting data in numbers. So statistics helps draws a line on what is acceptable and dismissible. I'll give you a very good example. If you're going to, balikan natin yung grade, di ba? If your average is 2.5, how would you interpret your average? Are you a pass or a fail? That's, kasi meron na tayong acceptable hypothetical mean na kapag 3 ka, pasado ka. If you go 3.1, hindi ka na pasado. So this is also the same with this case, na if your mean of your grades, technically the mean of your grades is around 2.5, alam mo na papasa ka doon sa semester na yon. Pero may mga specific pa tayong mga rules on that. Okay, so going back on this, wala namang pong mga tanong about the nature of statistics, or shall we go on muna? So far, wala naman sa chat box. And okay, so let's proceed muna. And just ask any time para tayo, no? Okay, so you decided to become a statistician. So what are the effective habits of a statistician? No? So before tayo mag-proceed sa pagiging sa statistics, or you want to do statistics in your own research, kailangan meron muna kayong tinatawag na effective habits. Kasi being a statistician is not about knowing the formula, it's about how you prepare your data. So where to start on habits? Siyempre, we start with the basics. So what are the basics of being a statistician? You need first to know what you're dealing with pagdating sa data. You're good as done with your statistical analysis kapag alam mo kung ano yung data mo. Kaya magkakaroon tayo ng konting review sa data, di ba? Pag alam mo yung data mo, ibig sabihin, alam mo rin kung ano yung statistical treatment ibibigay mo doon. Ano yung bagay, alin yung hindi bagay. Diba? Pag hindi bagay, huwag pilitin kasi hindi ka naman sasagutin. Diba? Iba yung masasagot sa'yo. Diba? Mare-reject ka lang. Bawal masaktan ngayon, 2020 pa naman. Yan. So, in research, one of the pitfalls pagdating sa statistics is unable to identify what to do with the data. Diba? Say for example, we did a gathering of data. Let's say you gather the sex, the population, the number of people, yung students kung anong grade sila. Kinuha mo yung grades nila sa bawat subject. Ang problema mo na doon is, after mo siyang i-organize in an Excel table, anong gagawin mo sa data? Then what? No? Yun yung nagiging pitfall po na maraming researchers, lalo sa mga bata pang researcher na takot pa magtanong. Diba? There's no harm in asking. Sa totoo lang. In research, we have also consultants. We have advisors. Kasi sometimes we do forget. No, how much more sa mga starting researchers tulad ninyo, no? If you have the data, the next question there is what to do with the data. If you have identified the data, anong next na gagawin ko sa data? Shall I find the mean? Shall I find the mode, the median? Shall I find the standard deviation? May mga statistical, may descriptive statistics na ginagawa. And then also we have to assume that proper statistical testing with regards to the proper assumption is as ethical as it sounds. Yan po. So before you do any statistics po, meron pong tinatawag na assumption. Ito po. Meron po tayong mga conditions na dapat na i-satisfy muna bago kayo susugod sa statistics na gagawin nyo. We will have that later, no? And then, as always, and I always remind this to my students, for the last 10 years, I always say, practice, summarize, and create guides. There is no harm in listing. Yan. You need to practice, you need to summarize what you're doing, and you need to create guides. Kung hindi kayo marunong maghanap ng mean, then look for guides on how to create mean, then transform it into your own language. Paano mo yung gagawin ko? Ikaw mismo gagawa. So, ikaw mismo lilista. No? Kung medyo mahina ka sa ANOVA, kasi yung mga guides kahit yung YouTube guides, nahihilo ka pa rin. And then, you practice, you summarize ano sa tingin mo yung mas madali sa'yo, then you create guides for ANOVA. No? These are habits that you should have if you're planning to do statistics. Diba? Lalo na kayo ay kung you're in your graduating year, fourth year, I think it's high time already for you to prepare these things. Kung kayo ay first year pa lang, you're in your freshman year in college, I think it's the best time also to learn. Kasi sayang, every year may gumagraduate. Diba? Every year may nagte-thesis. Malay mo, pwede ka magiging assistant ng isang statistician. No, I'm telling the practical side of this craft. Pwede, kasi there's no harm in kumikita, di ba? Kabuhayan din yan. Okay, so talking about the effective habits of being a statistician, we could now start with descriptive statistics. Okay, so review lang naman po ito, no? Before we have the mismong Excel, no? Okay, so descriptive statistics is just a method in statistics where we try to give the sense on the general outlook of the data being presented by the population, or it's just only the summary of data. You're just giving an outline of what the data represents. So, dito na yung papasok yung measures of central tendency. We have mean, median, mode. We have standard deviation. We have variance here. Yan po yung mga kasama po ng descriptive statistics. Even charting, diba? Charting is part of descriptive statistics. So, ito nga po, no? Na pag-usapan na natin, no? These are the basic that you should master. We have mean, median, mode. We have standard deviation and variance, though we report standard deviation more often in researches. And then you also need to learn how to interpret histograms, polygon graphs, bar graphs, pie graphs, or in our own language, say polygon G, bar G, pie G, Sara G, no? So ito po, we need to master this. No, I think in your senior high school, you already had this in your curriculum. Sige, mag-survey muna tayo. Ilan dito ang, ay, teka, wala pala tong Paul, kalimutan ko. Pero mostly ba graduate dito ng senior high school curriculum?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Di ba may naman kayo, population and statistics na, di ba?
Yes.
Ayan. Ayan. Ay kung medyo nagdududa kayo sa sa inyong population and ay sa inyong natutunan sa statistics, ayan. So ito na yung opportunity para para malinawan tayo, no. Anyways, ang kagandahan naman dito kasi your subject in senior high school, you were taught the computation. Dito sa ating webinar, ang matutunan natin is how to use the tools in Excel in order for us to show these things. Okay? So, in order for us to do this, we have to review on the types of data. Yeah. So let's start first with, we have categorical data. From the word category, we're trying to give a name or trying to put them into a certain box, di ba? A certain point and a certain let's say kumbaga hinihiwalay natin yung mga dikulay sa mga puti pag naglalaba, di ba? Category. So let's start with nominal data. There are these data are being categorized in no particular order. So walang first, walang second, walang third, walang mataas, walang mababa. They're just only categories. Its purpose is just to represent a certain category or create an identity that separates it with other data with no particular leveling. Say, for example, colors of the rainbow. If you believe that the colors of the rainbow is 7, di ba? So I could say that if I put 1 in my Excel file in a cell, kung may column ako about colors, put 1, ibig sabihin ang nakita kong kulay ay red. Or 2, pwedeng orange. Or kung nag-enroll kayo, lalo yung mga gustong gumawa ng survey instrument, di ba? Type of student. You set that 1 is new, 2 is old, 3 is shifting, and so on and so forth. Di ba? So these are categorical data. Or pwede rin nating sabihin, let's think of something else. What if ang gawin natin ay category of boy or girl? Let's say, pag boy or girl. Oh, LGBTQ, di ba? Let's say, you're asked of your sexuality, di ba? Or sexual orientation. Sorry for the word. Sexual orientation. Let's say L is equals to 1, di ba? G is equals to 1, or B equals to, no. G equals 2, B equals 3, T is for 4, Q is for 5. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, if you put in your cell, kung ano nagsasabi kayo, 1, doon sa kanyang sexual orientation, then you predict that it means that your subject is, or your respondent is 1. So, categorical siya. Walang una, walang last, or, may kulang na to, LGBTQ, lagyan natin ng S for straight. 6. Kasi malay natin, hindi talaga siya pasok sa LGBTQ, malamang straight siya. Or 6. Or 0. We could use 0. Kasi, the numbers here, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, has no bearing in terms of value. The essence of the numbers are actually just to give a name. But in order for us to, in order for us do not write the whole word. For example, you're going to write lesbian. Let's say you have 30 respondents that are lesbians, then you're going to write it lesbians 30 times. You just put one. So it's in a way it's coding. It's a form of coding your categorical data, and this is a very useful technique. Even in large datas, we use coding a lot for nominal data. Okay, so that's for nominal. When we talk about categorical data but are dichotomous, no, from the word di, we're talking about categories that only falls into two types of categories. Yan. So ang difference lang nila ni nominal, si di dalawa. Si nominal more than two. Si di dalawa lang. Okay. So you're going to think of two of categories that falls into two categories lang. Say for example, sex, male or female. So we use 1 or 2 or 0 or 1 kung binary ang gusto nyo. Ownership, on ownership, yes or no, 1 or 2. Or 1, 0, high or low if you're doing binary mathematics or you're doing IT or IS. If you're doing coding in Python, we use 1 and 0. No, or i-reference na lang natin yung kanta ni Katy Perry dito. Bahala na kayo kung anong interpretation ng 1 and 0 dito, di ba? Because you're hot and you're cold. Yes and you're no, di ba? You're in and out. You're up and down, di ba? Puro sila opposites. Yan. Yan po ang dichotomous. And there are a lot of researches about dichotomous. Kasi mayroon tayong mga di ba, yung distinct negative and distinct positive. Or we have a extremes, di ba? May extreme na good and extreme bad. And these are dichotomous, categorical data. No? So, another thing na gusto ko rin i-emphasize sa nominal versus dichotomous is that dicho, sabi ko nga, extreme. So, it has a value na. May certain value siya, though it's not clearly stated. Pero alam mo na yung isa is at the other side, like say for male and female, meron tayong distinct representation kung bakit siya tinawag na male at tinawag siya na female because they are at both sides. Di ba? Yung isa ay nasa isang side, isa ay nasa isang side. Or yes or no, alam mo na positive yung yes, alam mo na negative yung no. Or yung high and low, alam mo na yung isa ay mataas, yung isa ay distinctive na mababa. So wala siyang middle point. It's either you go high or you go low. Yan yung sa dichotomous. And then we also have ordinal. Okay. So ordinal data naman, these are data that represents more than two distinct categories or level. Kung saan, order of the levels matters. So ibig sabihin, meron na po siyang order. So ibig sabihin, 1, 2, for example, you have an order. For example, ranking 1, 2, and 3. Diba? Rank 1, rank 2, and rank 3. It's an ordinal data. Diba? Because depende kung your orientation, rank 1 means the first or the highest, and rank 3 means the lowest. Diba? So the order of the levels matter. So alam na kagad yung 2 is the middle. Diba? And may mga though this is kind of vague at some point kasi depende po sa purpose po. Likert scales are examples of ordinal scales. Pero you have to consider first muna na the first condition is more than 2 yung distinct categories. And then meron pa nga silang tinatawag na the in-between scores never matter. Yan po yung mga bagay na dapat natin na maintindihan sa ordinal. For example, yung let's say we have let's put here a note. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's say that your 1 is the lowest score and your 5 is the highest score. Diba? Let's say ang nakuha mong kung may papansin nyo, there is no in-between scores dito. It's either, pag nakuha mo yung, if in case you got a mean of 2.5, in case lang, 2.5, ang mangyayari dito is you will just round off it into the nearest using the round off rule. So that is a 3. So ibig sabihin, you classify the data that you get from that person as a 3. Kasi you think that the in-between scores never matter. Pero this is a case-to-case basis po, no? There are cases na the in-between matters. Pero that is a separate case po. So sa ordinal, for now, we just understand that 1 is distinctive, 2 is distinctive, 3 is distinctive, up to 5. And then, in short, the label matters. So, big sabihin, ang bawat score na to, meron po siyang label. No? Wag na gagawa kayo ng scale na walang label po. Parehas yan sa relasyon, wag ding magle-label, wag magsasama pag walang label. Kailangan pasiguro lagi may label, 'di ba? No? So, parehas yan ng ano. Another thing I would like also to add about ordinal data is that so ordinal data yung distance between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5 is not the same. I'll give an example. Let us see here sa Excel file natin. Okay. Kasi may ginawa akong rank dito yesterday. Ito. If you can see, this is the rank of the scores ng General Physics 1. Ito yung grade sa General Physics 1. So, I think we could hide this para makita natin, no? So, hide natin sila. Hide. Asa yung hide dito? Ito. Okay. Ang ordinal data, ganito rin po kasi ang nature niya. Okay, let's say, the highest grade is 99 and the rank is 1. Okay. Let's see the second rank. 98, di ba? 2. Let's see the third. Ano ang third rank natin? Okay, 97. So, pasunod-sunod pa. So, you have, if we're going to do this, let's rank this first. Let's sort this out. No? Largest to smallest. Okay. Ay, no. Let's do smallest to largest kasi 1 pala yung mataas sa atin. Okay. So, tingnan nyo ha. So, if we're going to do from 1 to 9. Okay. So, from rank 1 to rank 9, no? Which is technically 10 kasi may mga in-betweens pa. Yan. So, the first, how many, ano to? How many persons are this? We have 13. So, we have 13 persons being ranked. Diba? So, kung titingnan nyo from, 12, sorry. Kasi ano pala to? Meron palang heading. So, 12. So, sa 12 persons, may kita nyo na 1, 2, 3, then 9. Diba? From 99 to 98 is only 1. From 98 to 97, ang kanyang distance is 1. Then from 97 to 96, ang distance niya ay 1 din. Pero tingnan niyo yung rank niya. 'Di ba? That is 1, 2, 3, tapos biglang 9. So, yung distance from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 9, no? 3 dito, yung distance nila at yung scores dito, napaka layo. Hindi sila equally. Kumbaga, hindi sila equally distance. So, that's one nature of nominal data. Or if we're going to use a simpler data, let's say we have 10, 7, 4, 5, and 1. Let's say 5 and 4 and 1. Let's say these are row scores of a class of 5 people. Then you want to rank them. Para maliwanag yung yung ordinal data. So alam mo na agad, this is first, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, and this is fifth. Kung titingnan niyo ang distance mula 10 hanggang 7, ang distance nila is negative 3. From 7 to 5 is negative 2. From 5 to 4, it's negative 1. From 4 to 1 is negative 3. Pero ang rank nila is ordinal. Pero yung kanilang distance in between is not the same. Diba? So, yun po yung nature po ng ordinal. It does not talk about yung distance in between. So, kahit hindi pare-parehas, yung distances nila, kasi ang usapan naman dito ay yung order. So, alam pa rin natin na yung 1, yun yung pinakamataas, yung 5, yun yung pinakamababa. Yan po sa ordinal. No? Okay, so, balikan natin, no? So, we have already nominal, pangalan lang. We have dichotomous, so, walang siya. We have only 2. Then, we have ordinal. And then, we have now interval data. So, sa interval data, or in the book that we use, we call it, generally they are called approximately normal. Pwede kasi siyang mahati into 2. We have interval data. So, interval data, the data is measured in a continuum. So, ano siya? The in-betweens matter. So, dire-diretso siya. All data has numeric value and 0 has a value. So, one example dito is temperature. Kasi ang 0 degrees Celsius, it matters sa temperature. It means it's the freezing point of water. Ibig sabihin may value pa rin siya kasi there is an effect. Diba? So, technically, sa interval data, ang absolute zero is non-evident by nature. No? So, kasi ang 0 dito, meron pa rin laman eh. Yan ang nature po ng interval data. No? But they are under approximately normal. So, this is just only a review. So, don't worry. And then, ang pinaka-importanting part dito sa interval data is that they are equally spaced. So, yun ang general difference nila sa ordinal. Ibig sabihin, if you have scores 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, ibig sabihin, the distance between 1 and 2 is 1. 2 to 3 is 1. 3 and 4 is 1. 4 and 5 is 1. Ibig sabihin, meron talagang distinct measure na 2 is plus 1 greater than 1. Or 3 is a score that is plus 2 from 1. So meron talaga siyang equally spaced. So hindi siya pwedeng hindi siya tulad nung ordinal na yung rank does not give you the real it does not give you the real distance between. Ito kailangan pare-parehas po ang spacing. I'll give an example. When you measure for example 1 centimeter, diba? 1 centimeter, let's do it 1 meter. We all know that 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters. Diba? So, ibig sabihin, if you're going to divide 1 meter into 100 equally spaced, kung meron kang meter stick na 1 meter, and you divide it into 100 parts, equal parts, then you can assume that you have one part of it is 1 centimeter lang. And that is the nature of interval data. Diba? Kasi equally spaced sila. This is also true with ratio. So si ratio, ganun din, it's also equally spaced. All data has numerical value. Ang difference niya lang kay interval, yung 0 talaga, pag sinabing 0, no value. Wala talagang value yung 0. So say for example, ngayong Pasko, sabi natin, ngayong Pasko, sinabi ng boss mo, no bonus. Diba? No bonus. Diba? Pag no bonus, ano ibig sabihin ng boss mo? Walang pera. Diba? Walang perang ibibigay. 0 talaga. So 0 has no value. Diba? Pag sinabi ng crush mo, kuwari, nagsimbang gabi kayo ng crush mo, sinabi sa'yo, walang pag-asa, ay talagang walang pag-asa yon. 0 talaga yon. Diba? Kahit anong pilit natin, mahirap talagang pilitin yon. Those are, well, irrational examples, but I think you get the point here. So to summarize this, ito. So we have a summary here. Yan. So pag pinag-usapan nating nominal, we have 3 or more unordered categories. We talk about dichotomous, we have 2 categories, either ordered or unordered. So pwede pa rin unordered. We have also ordinal, 3 or more ordered levels, but the frequency distribution of the scores is not normally distributed. And approximately normal, many or at least 5 ordered levels or scores with the frequency distribution of the scores being approximately normally distributed, or the distance between the scores are almost equally distributed. Kasi ito yung modern definition. We have also the traditional. Yeah. Okay. So we have here also other general characteristics. I'll give you a copy of this, so don't worry. Okay. So, napag-usapan natin kanina yung descriptives. Okay. So, let's say you have your data. Na-review mo na yung data mo, you have already identified your data. How would you describe your data? What are the best way to describe your data? So here, table 3 will give you the idea. So have a copy of this. I think best ito i-print nyo. Kung nagtitesis na kayo, ilagay nyo sa pader. Yan, para ma-remind kayo, no? So for nominal data, what is the best way how to present it in a graph? So you could do frequency distribution or a bar chart. Bar chart, sorry. So, wag kayong mag-isip gumawa ng histogram and frequency polygon. Kung gusto yung, if you have dichotomous, best pa rin ay frequency distribution and bar chart. If you're doing ordinal data, no, yung kanina pag-usapan natin na yung in-between ay yung distance between scores are not equal, you could do frequency distribution, you could do bar chart, histogram and frequency polygon. Depends on your purpose. Pwede rin, no? Pwede rin siya. It's an okay but not recommended. When you talk about normal data, which is your interval or ratio, for example, yung temperature or grades nyo, or yung height nyo, height ng mga estudyante nyo, if you're doing your BMI for your students, frequency distribution in bar chart is not the proper. Pwede, pero not proper. It's an okay lang. Pero histogram and frequency polygon could be used. If you're going to talk about central tendency, alam natin na yung mean ang pinaka malakas, di ba, sa lahat. Pero it depends on the data that you're using. Nominal data, well, pinaka-best is mode, di ba? Gusto mo lang naman i-express sino yung pinakamarami, malamang gamitin mo si mode. Kasi what if ang ginamit mo mean? Say for example, mean ang ginamit mo. Balikan natin yung LGBTQ natin na data kanina, no? So, to give you an idea. Bakit medyo mahirap yung mean na gamitin at median and mode is more recommended. Where is that? Okay, for example, sa LGBTQ. Say for example, kinuha ang mean. Ano kung mean mo is 1.2. Diba? The mean of your data, for nominal is 1.2. How do you interpret 1.2? Ibig sabihin ba yung population mo mostly are 1 pero mostly gay, pero may part din na gay? Diba? 0.2 na gay? Or 1 point, diba? Alanganin na lesbian at alanganin na gay. So it's a funny thing. Kung median naman ang gagamitin naman kasi natin, median, ang problema naman sa median is hindi niya properly ma-represent yung others, 'di ba? Yung others na So ang best dito ay yung mode kasi it gives you the majority. So for example, ang mode ng inyong na compute mode nyo is for example 3. So ano ibig sabihin ng ang mode na 3 sa inyong calculation? Or you calculated that the mode of your data is 3. It means that majority of your data, majority of your participants are bisexual. how do you say, how do you say majority? It means it's more than 50%. Diba? Kaya you have to support this with your other data na i-represent nyo dun sa inyong statistical report. So you have to be vigilant din sa inyong frequency tables. Okay. Dichotomous, pinaka-best pa rin ang mode, please. Kasi what if for example again, yes and no. Balikan natin yung yes and no natin. No? Wait, nawala ako. Yes and no. For example, your result is 1.2. Kung mean ang 1.5. Mean ang pinag-usapan natin na yes is 1, no is 2, then ang nakuha mong mean is 1.5. Di ibig sabihin nun, alanganin na naman yung sagot. May nag-yes, pero meron din nagsasabi ng no. So, mas maganda tingnan pa rin yung mode. And then, you take a look also to the frequency table. No? So, tingnan natin. Nakita mo, majority, sabi ng mode mo is, your mode is 1. It's a yes. Then, you take a look sa frequency nyo, then get the percentage. Baka 80% nagsabi ng yes, then that is already now sufficient data to support your mode. Sa ordinal naman, we have median as the best. Pero if you express your data in ranks, in the form of ranks, well, okay is mean is also suggested. And when it comes to normal, well, ang pinaka-best talaga dito is mean. Diba? For example, yung balikan natin yung grades nyo, parang alanganin naman kapag, say for example, ginamit natin sa grades. To find the average of your grades, we're going to use mode. Then nakita mo, most ng grades mo ngayon, meron ka sanang grade na mga sabihin natin, 3-1. Then 3-1, tas 5 ay 3. Malamang, alalabas doon na mode is 3. Diba? So, pinaka-best ang mean sa normal data. Okay. So, I think this is the first part of this sa review. Before we proceed with dealing with statistics in Excel, I think we could do some questions if you have questions. MC? Hello po.
I think, sir, they have a part where they will have the open forum once the entire presentation is already over.
So may may forum naman mamaya?
After your lecture po.
Okay. Okay. Sige. No, so just feel free, no? Okay. Sige, let's talk about dealing with statistics in Excel. So, I have a few things muna bago ko i-present yung yung itong Excel, no? First, ayan, baka kasi makasuhan ako. The add-in is not my property but is a shareware add-in known as Real Stats by Charles Zontz for MS Excel. I am not in any way affiliated with Zontz nor with Microsoft, no? Sorry kay Bill Gates. Hindi po ako promondizer po ng Microsoft, ha? Please. Baka mapagalitan ako ni sa copyrights, no? Then the add-in is not also mine. I use this add-in since 2010. Yeah, 2010 pa ito eh. They just evolved because of the updates of Microsoft Office. And the purpose of this discussion is to provide a cheaper alternative and easy GUI for beginners in statistics. Kasi there are other powerful tools, statistical tools, software. I mean, statistical software in the market, but napakamahal talaga. At least you need 15,000 just to buy a license for that. So, purpose nito is to give a cheaper alternative. I call it cheaper kasi ang puhunan mo lang dito ay kailangan mo ng internet lang to download it and read, or in this case, we are doing the webinar. Okay, through the URL. I think binigay ko ng URL before. I'll provide it na lang sa pag-release ko na lang ng PowerPoint, no? I didn't put the URL here kasi naalala ko it is a recorded recorded session, mapapagalitan na naman ako. Okay? So, yung add-in po, meron pong compatible po sa bawat MS Office version. So, I'm using the latest one kasi I'm using MS Excel 2016. And then, we're going to install it. We're going to open Excel. In Excel, we're going to do files, options, and add-ins. So, let us demonstrate this. No, actually, naka-install na po yung akin. So, nakikita po ba yung yung Excel screen ko ngayon?
Yes.
Ayan, sige, good. Itong add-ins na to, kung bubuksan yung Excel nyo, wala ito sa inyong pag nag-start kayo mag-open na, wala dapat siyang Excel add-in na ganito. Kung meron kayo, malamang may in-install na kayo dati. So sa case na to, kung wala kayo nito, don't worry. It's natural kasi it's your first time. Ito, I already installed it. Actually, itong computer na gamit ko ngayon, or PC, I mean laptop is not mine. It's from a friend, just to make sure na it will work also with others. Okay, so you start open your Excel, you go to File, and then you click Options. And then you go here in Add-ins. Yan. Don't worry, maglalag po yun ng konti. Yan. And then here sa baba, may kita yung Manage Excel Add-ins. No? So may drop down po yan. Yan lang, okay na yan. Just make sure it's highlighted in Excel Add-ins. Then you click Go. Okay. So lalabas po ito. No. Sa start po, hindi nyo makikita tong X-Real Stats. So, example, hindi natin nakita, no? Hindi natin nakita. Tapos, actually, lahat ito, wala yan. Walang click. Wala yan ng checkmark. So, what you do is you click Analysis Toolpack, Solver Add-in, and then you will find the Real Stat add-in. So, you do Browse. Okay. And then, sa case ko, I'll go to Downloads kasi nasa Downloads folder ko yung X-Real Stats. Kayo, it depends on where is your download folders go. Okay, click that. And then, click OK. Then you have this. Cancel ko lang, no? And then, here. So, i-click natin Real Stats. Then, we click OK. So, yan. So, maglalag yan sa inyo. Sa akin kasi dati nang meron.
Okay, tira.
Okay na. Okay. Wala ako. Okay, so, now, you have two ways how to access the add-in. You could do add-ins, real statistics, and then click data analysis tools. Okay? So, lalabas po na ito. So you have this very minimalist dialog box. Kung walang add-ins, pwede yung pindutin ang Control plus M. Yan. Control Mango. Diba? Control M. Yan. Lalabas rin po siya. Okay. So, yan po yung basic installation. So you have here your descriptive statistics. We have here your linear regression. If you're going to do advanced regression, if hindi kaya ng person R, we have ANOVA. Yan. We have correlation tests. And then we have the t-test. Okay. So that's how you install real statistics. Okay, let's go back to the okay. So, ganyan lang naman, no? Nandito rin po yung steps sa PowerPoint natin. So, it's good be guided. Okay. Okay. So, say for example, troubleshooting muna tayo. Just in case, no, na nagka-problema kayo. I can access real stats via Control M. Ang gagawin nyo lang po is you just do the reinstallation. Yun lang po. You just reinstall it. It's a bug kasi. It's a bug ng ng macro ng Microsoft. So sometimes they identify the add-in as as a nuisance, or it is a script that they cannot interpret upon opening. Don't worry, wala siyang virus it's virusless. It's not a ware that would destroy your computer or your software side of your OS. Don't worry, it's clean. Okay? Pag nagkaka-problema lang, you just reinstall it. No? Though nandito na yung instructions, but basically you're going to do what we had already done a while ago sa pag-install, and then you're good to go. So let's say we're going to do descriptive stat in Excel. Okay? So you can, in descriptive real stat, you could do mean, median, standard deviation, Shapiro-Wilk. We could do different tests just in case you need for descriptive statistics and normality. Yan po yung unang gagawin nyo bilang statistician. No? You first describe your data. Okay, so let's do a demonstration. Actually, I already solved some of my problems here, but let's do it anyways. Okay, so let's clear this. Continue. Clear natin to, no? Okay. So let's say it's your first time to do statistics. The first thing you're going to do as practice is, let's hide this, okay? The first thing we're going to do is to describe the data, okay? We want to know the mean, median, mode. We would like to do the SDs. We would like to do the different tests of the data, whether they're good for calculation. Okay, so let's say we would like to understand, to discover the nature of this data we have. So these are scores in General Physics 1, General Physics 2, English 1, English 2. No? Okay. Let's say, let's start with Control M, no? To open up real statistics. Or we could do this one, add-ins, real statistics, data analysis. Okay. So, ito lang muna ang gagawin natin. Descriptive statistics and normality. So, click OK. So, meron kayo makikita input range, column headings with data, and then different options. So, as beginners, I would suggest you start with input range and naka-click na yung column headings. Kung may column headings po kayo. So, in this case, meron ako. So, i-include ko yung column headings. Then, drag it down. So, I'll just do this 4. Hindi ko na isasali si rank. And then, I would suggest start with descriptive statistics, Shapiro-Wilk, and Grubbs test. Pag-usapan natin kung anong Grubbs test later. So, ito munang tatlo. So, hindi muna ako maglalagay ng Grubbs. Let's just deal with the data. And then, output range, I'll click this one outside here. Then, click OK. Then, it will give you this data. Okay? Extend natin ng konti. So, let's assume that all of our data are approximately normal. So, mga interval, kasi grades naman sila eh. So, the in-betweens, the decimal points do matter in this case. So, sabi natin sa guide kanina, ang best dito ay we're going to get the mean. So, let me highlight the mean here. Then, standard deviation. And then, okay. Then, we have here the Shapiro-Wilk test. I'll highlight this one. No? And then, I'll do the Grubbs test. Okay. So, we have here the mean. So, alam natin na yung mean nito is 91.021 or 89.54 for General Physics 2, English 1, and English 2. And then, I also highlighted standard deviation. Bakit hina-highlight ko pa yung standard deviation? When you report, the standard way on reporting mean is you have to include the standard deviation sa APA way of reporting this. So, what they do is they could do this way. They write M is equals to, italics po yung M, sorry. So, italic M, means mean. You input the mean. Let's say for GP Physics 1, 91.021. Okay, so there are two ways how to express the standard deviation. You do SD, pulse, comma, sorry, I forgot, comma, SD. And then you do italics. And then you put an equal sign. And then non-italics, 5.017. Pwede mo siyang express ng ganyan. Or you could also express your data in parentheses, 91.021, plus minus, no? I couldn't find the symbol sign here. So I'll just put plus minus 5.017. If you want to express that. So I could say that the mean of General Physics 1 is equivalent to 91.021 plus minus 5.017, or the descriptive statistics analysis for the General Physics 1 revealed that, comma, M is equals to this data here, and then you're done. So that is for your descriptives. Descriptives lang, no? So depending on your research or depending on your advisor, pwede nilang magpadagdag pa dyan ng iba pang data. For example, some would request for standard error, or maybe they would also request for the maximum and minimum range, or the range and the maximum minimum. So depende po yan sa inyong professor or sa inyong advisor, no? So case-to-case basis. Pero for sure, they always include the mean and standard deviation here. Now, I have here the Shapiro-Wilk test. Anong purpose po ng Shapiro-Wilk test? It's a test for normality. Okay? It's one of the parametric assumptions to make sure that your data is ethically fit for statistical analysis. Ang kagandahan ng post dito sa sa ating add-in is that they will give you the answer whether your data is normal or not. So sa case ng General Physics 1, sinabi niya, no, the data is not normal. No. So sasabihin niyan sa Shapiro-Wilk. So ang rini-report lang naman sa Shapiro-Wilk kasi ay ito, na dalawa. No? Dalawang ito. Or you put this in a table, you report this too. Yan. So they say, no, it's not normal. Samantala, the other three is normal. So, yan po yung isa pong important things you should remember in doing descriptives. You don't only give the mean or the standard deviation, you also need to express whether your data is normal. Okay? And then, we have here the last one, which is the Grubbs test. The Grubbs test is equally important for normality because it also gives you an idea whether you have a score that is an outlier. Ano daw ang outlier? If you're going to put it this way, an outlier data or an outlier score is a score that does not belong into the population score. For example, ito yung score mo, ito yung in-analyze nating score, it has seen na yung score na 81 does not fit into those data. So kumbaga parang ano siya, parang naligaw na score, 'di ba? Naligaw siyang data. So, Grubbs test verifies whether it's naliligaw na test. Kaya nga, ito yung isang crucial role po ng statistician. Before you do any statistics, you need to take a look doon sa data ng inyong kliyente. If you see that meron doon outlier na score, you have to do Grubbs test. And then, take a look here. Sabi dito, is the outlier significant? Ang sabi dito, no. So, ibig sabihin, yung 81 ay hindi tsambang score. Kaya makikita ka agad ng statistician kung yung inyong mga, for example, you did a research, you did a survey, makikita nyo agad whether your data ay hindi isipan na your survey has been compromised. Kasi may mga data na naliligaw. Yeah, that's one way on looking into Grubbs test. Pero sa case na to, sabi niya, oh, no, 81, the score 81 is not an outlier. So, you're okay. So, yan po yung mangyayari. What if significant yung outlier mo? That 81 is an outlier. What could you do? Well, according to several books that I have already read on statistics and advanced stat, even laerd.com and SPSS, the people in IBM, suggest that kapag ganyan na may outlier, it's either you recast the test, you do a recast of the test, gawin mo ulit yung test, or you remove the outlier. So tatanggalin mo yung datang yon, or yung whole data group na galing doon sa may outlier. Pero meron yung lahat ng pros and consequence. Doon sa recast, ibig sabihin, gagastos ka ulit para mag-survey ulit. Doon naman sa tatanggalin mo yung outlier na yon, in a certain part of my conscience, it's like you're trying to manipulate the data. So there is a certain ethical issue in that case. Kasi tatanggalin mo, random sampling at tinanggal mo naman after the test, ano yung purpose pa ng random sampling? No? So those are several things that you should consider as a statistician. Kaya hindi pwedeng hindi mahirap dayain po ang survey, no? Doon po sa mga gagawa po ng survey, please huwag kayong magdadaya ng survey. Madali po siyang mahuli kung yan po ay hindi ginawa ng isang tao or hindi siya kinas ng maayos sa isang population. So please be very careful, be responsible, no? Sabi ko sa inyo, it is a science, but at the same time it's an art. And art has flaws. Nakikita po yung mga flaws kapag may mali po. Okay? Okay, so that's for descriptives. No? And then before you do in doing your descriptives, you can refer here in table 3 again kung ano yung best, di ba? Kung mean or median or mode po ang gagamitin natin. Ito na rin yung sa variability, I already included whether you're going to use standard deviation or not. No, okay. So that is for descriptives. Okay, let's talk about doing correlational tests. Yan, yung sa my hypothesis ito. Okay, so correlational test tries to establish a relationship between two independent groups of scores. Okay, ang word dito ay relationship. Okay, so big sabihin that does group 1 influences the outcome of group 2 or vice versa. No? But ito po yung these are usually misconceptions. But may I emphasize this, correlational test does not give you a solid answer that pag si A, ito ang score, ito ang maglalabas na score kay B. No, that does not follow. Ibig sabihin lang, we could predict what would be the possible score of the other score if there's a certain relationship. But it does not mean that the score in one will dictate the score in group 2. Yan po Tandaan po ninyo yan. I had a discussion on that in my previous class with that kind of idea, and that is really a misconception na kailangan nating iwasan. No? It just only give you a certain possibility na ito yung magiging score mo, ito yung score mo doon sa isa. So, naalala ko noon, during the 90s, they say that if a student is good in math, they may be bad in grammar. Grammar hindi English. Kasi may mga, may mga magaling sa math, na magaling rin sa, magaling sa English but not in grammar. Poetry, that is one thing. Di ba? Magaling sa math, magaling sa poetry, but poetry technically tries to ignore grammar. So, I use the word grammar instead. No? So, sabi nila, if you are good in math, you're bad in grammar. Pero, I think that is not true today. And one of those tests are this correlational test. So, if you want to do a parametric correlational test, so the keyword there is parametric. So, merong tayong assumptions with approximately normal data. So, we could use correlational test with approximately data, normal data, that's ratio and interval. Person R is a tool that fits into the criteria. If the data fails the parametric assumption or your data is in ordinal order, Spearman Rho is the proper choice. Okay. So, what are the assumptions kapag parametric? So, dapat, ito po yung checklist natin. As much as we could do person hour anytime, we have to agree, we have to show first that this 3 tests passes the data. Okay? Dapat daw siya ay normal distribution, dapat daw walang outliers, at dapat approximately normal. So, at least 3. Itong 3 ito, okay na tayo. Okay. So, let's do a demonstration here in Excel. Okay, we have here the sample data again. So, we have done the descriptives a while ago. Okay. Let's say, si GP61 sa normality is a no. So, hindi siya pwedeng person R. But we could do General Physics 1 and English 1. Diba? Kasi pare silang normal. We could do person R here. Kasi sa Grubbs test, we already know that the outlier is not significant. Okay. So, paano natin gawin to? We do Control M again. And then, pag Control M, click Core. Then, click Correlational Test. Okay. Then, we put the input range for Group 1. So, let's do General Physics 2. So, I'll include the column heading kasi may pangalan yung column heading natin. And then, let's do input range 2. That's English 1. Kasi since, this is kind of random sa atin, pero we just want to see whether there's a relationship between the performance in General Physics 2 and English 1. Okay, person R. So, nandito yung test type. We could do person. We could do Spearman's. We could do Kendall's. But Kendall's is done in a different non-parametric test. So, let's stick first with persons. And then you decide whether you want to do 1 tail or 2 tails. I suggest to do 2 tails. That's more ethically correct. Unless you have a special purpose for 1. I think your advisor for research could do a proper validation on why you need to do 1 tail, not 2 tail. Pero sa case natin, we're going to do 2 tail. Okay, output range. Okay, I'll click this. So, para dito lumabas yung ating output. Then, click OK. So, here we are. So, ang titingnan natin dito. So, ang ginagawa po ng is RealStat computes for all of the 3. So, ang bibigyan natin attention ay yung person. And then, sa person coefficient test, we just take a look sa t-test. We take a look sa p-value. Okay. So, it means that the computed person R is 0.6 with a p-value that is less than 0.001 dahil napakababa nito. So, what does 0.63 mean as a result in person R? Okay, anyone in the group could tell me what is the interpretation of a person R value with 0.63? Hello? Hala? Ano ibig sabihin ng 0.63 na R value? Nako, nakalimutan na nila ang correlation. So, ibig sabihin yan is that your depende kung ano yung gamit yung literature, pero sa literature na ginagamit namin, it means that there's a moderately strong, moderately positive moderate correlation. Sorry. Positive moderate correlation. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Pero hindi natin pa siya masasabi kung significant, not unless we take a look sa p-value. Kasi ang the p-value tells us whether it's significant or not. Sa case nito, if your the p-value that is computed is less than 0.05, then you say that your data or your computed person R is significant. Ibig sabihin, may sense yung pag-compute mo. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya pwedeng i-deny na may epekto yung score na yun. So it means that there's a possibility, there's a person R of 0.6 in a way that your performance in General Physics 2 is affecting English 1. Yan po yung ano niya. Yan po yung ibig sabihin nun. Whatever your grade in General Physics 2 has an impact to your performance also in English 1. And it is significant. Though it's moderate, but it's significant. Meron pa ring epekto in 0.6 level. No? Tapos, if you have those results, hindi mo naman siya pwedeng i-present sa thesis nyo na ganitong way. We have an APA way on presenting it. So, I had put it here. So, you could present it like this way. So, it is R, parenthesis. Kailangan i-follow yung italics, no? N minus 2. It means the population, computed value, p-value for person R. Or if you did Spearman row, it would be R sub S. Okay, so example here is this one. No, I did here Spearman row sa Physics 1 and Physics 2 kasi alam natin yung isang score is not normally distributed. So you just say the test of correlation between the grades in Physics 1 and 2 comma RS44 equals 0.55, P is less than 0.01, yielded a significantly positive moderate correlation. Ganun lang. So you express it that way. And then, if you're doing your research, then you put other supports here. If ito yung there other researches that supports the same level of correlation, so idudugtong nyo na siya dyan. So that is how you do your report on correlational tests using APA. Or you could also do a table like this, no? A summary of correlation between physics, tapos makikita nyo there's an alpha. This is yung value to beat. Dapat less than dyan para maging significant. No? Okay. So, pro tip, when you do your reports, you have to decide whether you will report the results in a table or a narrative format. Huwag po parehas. No? Kung may table kayo, let the table, just present the table. For example, ito. Kung may table na kayo dito, huwag nyo nang gawin ito ng buo. No? Huwag nyo nang gawin ito. Ang sasabihin nyo lang dyan is, the test of correlation between grades 1 and 2 yielded a significantly positive correlation. Kasi itong bagay na to, na-present mo na sa table. And that's already okay. No? So if you have already data in the table, you just give the interpretation of the data. No? Para malinis. Always remember, when you do a report, kailangan practical, malinis, hindi pa ulit-ulit. No? Okay. Then we could also do doing differences tests. So the purpose of doing this test is we would like to see whether there are significant differences between performances or between two groups. Depende po kung anong purpose. So key questions here are the two groups different? Does the treatment do any change to the results, or does the group significantly outgrow the current record? No. Ang example nito, say for example, does the two group differ? I'll give an example of a test for difference. Does the sex deter? If you're going to investigate on performance in, for example, anong subject kaya? In English, diba? Performance in English between male and female, diba? There are two groups. Or does the treatment change the result? Some example is, let's say you're doing a technique on teaching math. You're teaching the other group the traditional way. You're teaching the other group the way that you want it to teach it, which is different from traditional. And then treatment changed the results. Let's say you took the pretest, and then you introduce a treatment, then you took the post-test, that's treatment change. And then does the group significantly outgrew the current record? Another example of that is, for example, last year's performance sa intrams. Okay, intrams nga. Sa intrams, the performance of your volleyball team had an ace on an average game of let's say 21 aces. Ewan ko lang kung tawag niyo doon ace, no? Yung first serve pa lang, patay na agad. 21. No? Then, you did a treatment. That's the record, held record average. And then, you did a treatment to the group. For example, pinapanood nyo ng high Q para mag-improve yung yung libero nyo, tsaka yung inyong mga blocker. Diba? Para yung acing nyo lalong tumaas. Diba? So there, you're going to test the data whether nag-improve sila or hindi against the current record. So, when doing any difference tests, ito po yung natin, general, wait, I think I missed something. Yeah, I missed something here. So aside from your data should be a normal distribution, data has no outliers, and data is approximately normal, kailangan your data has equal variance. Yeah. I almost forgot this. We do Levin's test, pero I think this test is only true if you're doing ANOVA, but not in t-test. Kasi we have different ways of testing differences. So we'll start with t-test. So t-test is a test that tries to establish the significant difference between one or two groups, depending on your technique. So we have one sample. You're assuming a hypothetical mean. For example, the last year mean performance to compare to the current group performance. So, iyon yung sinasabi ko kanina sa acing sa volleyball. Okay, so that's one. We have also two independent samples. If you have two unrelated groups and you want to compare them with a certain variable, for example, which among the sexes are performing better in a 100-meter sprint? Yan. So, pwedeng hindi sila equal in number sa N, but you could do get their data for 100-meter sprint. So that's time. And then we have two paired sample. If you have a group with a shared variable and you want to compare them in terms of pre and post effect. So say for example, may introduce na bagong gamot, you take the pre-medication BP and then you take the post-medication BP just to see if the treatment with that medication is okay. Okay, so let's try t-test. Balik tayo sa sample data ko. Okay, let me re-rank this. Para makita natin. Okay, small to largest. Sort. Okay, there we go. So let's say we have here, dito sa column A, all sexes na 1 are male, all sexes na 2 are females. Okay, para makita natin. Okay, let's start first with the one t-test for one pair. Okay, let's do Control M. The same way, so you open real statistics, go to miscellaneous. So we have here the t-test and non-parametric equivalence. Okay. So sa case na to, we will assume na lang natin, no? Kasi lalong magiging komplikado kapag inisa-isa natin ang test. We will assume muna na the data has followed the assumptions. No? Pag na-follow yung assumption, you could do the normal t-test. If hindi na-follow yung assumptions, you could do the non-parametric. So basta mayroong isang sumablay sa assumption, you do non-parametric tests. Okay? So let's say sila ay equally variant, they're equally variant, they are no outliers, they are normally distributed. So, let's start first with one sample. Let's say, ito totoong data po to, no? Totoong data po ito. That the class mean, I have a class mean in my subject in physics. My class mean is at 97. Yan po yung kanilang grade as a class mean. No? One sample. So, I would like to test whether my class this year outperforms the class mean last year. So, 97. So, what I do is I click input range 1. So, ito yung grade ngayon ng bata ngayon. So, regardless of male or female, kasi class mean naman sila. And then, makikita nyo, hindi ko lalagyan sa input range 2 kasi we're just dealing with one class lang. Kasi meron tayong hypothetical mean. And then, I click one sample, click one t-test. Okay? Ito yung hypothetical mean. We're okay with it. Ito, okay na to. Huwag na natin pansinin. Then, output range. So, I'll click here or here sa baba. Then, click OK. So, makikita nyo, you're going to have here a one sample t-test result. Okay. So, I will highlight here yung results na dapat nating pansinin or i-report when you do your, sorry, about that. You need to report when you do your t-test. So, we'll go with two-tail. P-value. Okay. So, this is your t-value. P-value and highlight. Let's put highlight here. Okay. So, when you do your t-test, kailangan nyo ma-state yung mean, yung standard deviation, your t-test, your p-value, and then, ang maganda dito sa real stat is that it gives you the idea whether there's significance or not. So, sa case ito, it's significant. Okay, ito na po yung yung ating gagawin, no? So, the hypothetical mean kanina is, our hypothetical mean is 97. Diba? This is the hypothetical mean. So, sabi dito sa t-test is that the t-value, that the computed test says that it's significant, but it doesn't tell us if the group performs better or the group performs worse or lower. So, paano natin malalaman if it performs better or it performs worse? Ito pala yung hypothetical mean. Sorry. Hindi na pala. Okay. Madali lang po. Ang titingnan nyo lang is, first, tingnan nyo, confirm nyo na if it's significant or not. If it is significant, and then the next you take a look is the hypothetical mean, and then let's change the color and the mean with the standard deviation. Okay. Sige, tanong tayo. Tanong ako alin ang mas mataas? Is it the hypothetical mean or the computed mean here? Alin ang mas mataas? Hello? May tao pa po ba?
Parang wala nang marikinig.
Nako, nawalan tayo ng customer okay. Alin ang mas mataas? Sabi ni
Computed mean.
Yung computed mean ang mas mataas? O yung hypothetical?
Hypothetical po, sir.
Okay, it's the hypothetical mean ang mas mataas compared sa computed mean. Diba? So, three-way ang pag-check Tingnan kung significant. Okay, sabi natin significant. Yes. Tingnan natin next, hypothetical mean and computed mean. The hypothetical mean is greater than the computed mean. So what does it mean? Ibig sabihin that yung klase ko ngayon performs lower compared doon sa performance nung class ko last year, which has a hypothetical mean na 97. So it means yung klase ko ngayon is slightly underperforming compared dun sa population, uh, uh, previous population mean na 97. Nakuha nyo? Nagigets niyo yung, yung how it works? No? Pero ang ano natin diyan is dapat siya ay significant. Pag hindi siya significant, kahit mataas to, ito mababa, then hindi siya significant. Ibig sabihin, there's not enough evidence to state that they underperform. Pero dahil dito sabi na there's a significant value kasi ito yung p-value natin, then it's safe to say there's enough evidence that this class performs lower than the previous population mean, population performance. So that's for one sample lang, no? Okay. Let's try with independent samples. Let's compare yung class ngayon, whether yung between male and female. The same way, Control M, do miscellaneous, click OK. So sa input range, kasi na-segregate ko na yung 1 and 2. So ayan, bilang statistician. Okay, so I'll get this, 1. Then I'll get the other one na puro 2. Katabi, no? Sa physics. Okay. Now, reminder, since hindi ko sinali yung heading, I'll remove the heading. And then I'll click 2 independent samples. Then let's click OK. Okay. So nandito na naman siya. No? So, anong titingnan natin dito? We take a look sa mean. We take a look sa p-value. We take a look sa t-stat na computed. Sama na natin yung df. Wala. And then, if you're going to do a table, isasali nyo ang critical. Pero if you're not doing a table, do not include the t-critical. Kasi ang importante dito ay yung p-value and the t-statistics. And then, ito. These are the things that we're going to take a look. So, linilista dito yung group 1 and group 2. So, yung group 1 yung unang column, yung group 2 yung second column. So, the first column, alam natin, ito, code this. We already know these are the boys. And then, group 2 are the girls. Meron pa pala ditong kailangan pansin, yung count, which is the n. Okay? So, if we're going to take a look sa ating two-tail, okay. So, ano sabi dito sa two-tail? It is not significant. Diba? Kung i-assume natin na equal variance, kasi meron pa tayong unequal, pero in this case, we hypothetically say that equal ang variance nila. So, let's see this one. Okay, sabi dito not significant. Anong other ways para makita ko not significant? Titingnan nyo rin po yung p-value. If the p-value is less than 0.05, therefore it's significant. Oops.
Nangyayari, nawala si Sir. Sir George, are you still there?
Sa signal siguro, sir.
Okay. Antayin natin si Sir. Naputol bigla siguro sa katandaan, hindi pa ganun masyado pa signal nila. Baka nalobat si Sir. Wala pa ata kuryente sa kanila. Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Narinig mo ako, sir? Hello? Teka lang.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Kung pwede po mag-icebreaker po muna tayo habang naghihintay po tayo kay Sir George.
Go ahead. Go ahead, MC.
Go ahead.
I will contact him. Run out daw sa kanila eh. Mandali lang. Sige na, go ahead. You can have the icebreaker.
Okay, so habang naghihintay po tayo kay Sir George Victor Sales. Hindi ba ikaw? Magkakaroon po muna tayo ng icebreaker. Lahat po pwedeng sumali.
Ayan. Ang icebreaker natin ay ang ay entitled Show Me to Answer. Ay. Instead na show me to answer, ang gagawin na lang natin ay itatype nyo ang sagot. Itatype nyo ang sagot sa chat box para kung alam nyo ang sagot, i-chat nyo na lang sa chat box. So, the mechanics. This game is a 15-item trivia questions composed by easy, average, and difficult. So every break on our webinar, we'll be having a simple trivia questions. There are 5 questions intended each break. How to answer? You can type your answer in the chat box. The first one to comment the correct answer will be recognized. Okay po ba? Hello? Any question?
Yes po.
Okay. Let's proceed. For round 1, or the easy rounds. What number doesn't have its own Roman numeral? The first one to comment the answer will be recognized. What number doesn't have its own Roman numeral? Okay, Celine. Sino po ang nauna? Si Celine. The answer is 0. So 0 is the number who doesn't have its own Roman numeral. So let's proceed to question number 2. What is the only number spelled with letters in alphabet order? What is the only number spelled with letters in alphabetical order?
It's the only number spelled with letters in alphabetical order. What?
What is the perimeter of a circle? Circumference for Grace and Inano. The answer is circumference. Grace Ann. Okay, thank you, Grace Ann. The next question. How many sides does a nonagon have?
Lazona.
Lazona?
Sabay ko.
9 sides. Oh, correct.
Nakikita mo. Huwag kang i-effort.
Oh, okay, the fifth question. Which natural phenomenon was employed in ancient times to estimate the heights of the object? Object. Which natural phenomenon was employed in ancient times to estimate the heights of the objects?
Alexis.
Oh, shadow of sunlight. Shadow lang ang bugtak ng guguta.
Okay. Alexis answered shadow of sunlight. The answer is shadow cast by the sun.
Consider.
Considered ang sagot ni Alexis, shadow of sunlight.
Tama ang journalist.
For round 2, true or false? Number with the same number of letters in English. True or false? 4 is the only number with the same number of letters in English. True or false?
False daw sabi ni ang Celine. Sino nag-true? Romel Habig.
Okay. The answer is true.
Romel Habig. Romel Habig ba?
Romel Habig got the correct answer. So question number 2 for average category. True or false again? The value of 0 was first used by the ancient Indian mathematician Aryabhata. True or false? The value of 0 was first. True or false? The answer is true. The first one.
Jocelyn.
Sino si Emily? Wala. Ay, kaila.
The first one to comment the answer was
Si Jocelyn. Kanina ba yan?
Sino ba?
Kasi yung sa unahan niya na exam niya. Jocelyn ata.
true.
Di ba ikaw na una sabi mo ko? Wala sino una? Ang hilusay ko.
Pili ko si Jocelyn.
Wait lang po, may error. Dapat pala ninaagantang number 2, 4. Araw ka ito. So next question po kita. Day po ay kaiba ini sa sa points. So number 3 po, pag masagot po, mag-log po number, kunyari number 3, tapos the answer. Okay? Number 3, true or false again? The opposite sides of the dice cube always add up to 7. Okay? The answer is 3. Ay, true. The answer is 2. True.
Kuya kung tawat, di lang sa iyo, true or false?
Jonalyn po talan got the correct answer.
Di lang.
Okay, for the first item in average category, true or false again. The term Google was invented by 9-year-old boy Milton Shanara.
False ba? Sorry.
Yeah.
Mark Angelo Camacho. Mark Angelo Camacho. Mark Angelo Camacho.
Jan Tatel got the correct answer. The answer is false. It was Milton Sirota. It was Milton Sirota. Jan Daniel Tatel got the correct answer. Okay, question number 5. True or false again? The number 2 is the only prime number that does not have an E in its name.
False.
The answer is true.
Romilabig.
So,
5 lang.
Grace Ann Inano got the correct answer. Romelabig, what happened to the true? What happened to your answer?
Grace and may 2 points na.
Okay. Wala pa ko si Sir Victor.
Sir Victor informed me that he cannot anymore come back due to the province-wide brownout in their area. He's from Catanduanes, right? So instead, I will just continue his lecture. I can proceed with my lecture kasi since we still have time. I can do this within 15 minutes. And I will just finish the discussion during our regular class session when you return this coming January. Can you hear me, class?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, po, sir.
Okay. So, sana si MC, diretso tayo? Diretso na ako?
Opo, sir, pwede na po.
Okay. So, I can have this one. By the way, yung kanina kay sir, nakapag-screenshot kayo. Hindi tayo nakapag-screenshot eh.
Nakapag-screenshot pa ako, sir.
Yes po. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I will proceed with the next topic, which is about conducting action research, educational action research. This is also in line with the trust of 21st century educators. Paki-turn off muna ng mga microphone ninyo, may medyo nag-feedback. Okay, so I will be sharing a slide. This was, I got this from our professor also in De La Salle. Ano ba to? Hindi, ayaw na mag-share. Excuse me. Hindi ayaw. While waiting, I would like to remind everybody, 3A and 2A, tomorrow will be our Christmas online virtual Christmas party. 6 p.m. tayo kasi brand out ng maghapon eh. So we do it 6 p.m. Pero yung mga wag nang lalabas, yung mga kung gabi na, sa loob na lang. Okay, by the way, sino yung winner? Sino yung winner sa ninyo? Ano ba yung premyo?
Grace answer.
Bukas may pa-premyo din ako. Ranging from 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, and then the grand prize will be 100,000 worth of load.
Oh, load.
Okay, 100,000 worth of load ang mamimigay bukas. Huwag kayo makalaldi ako mamibigay ng jacket.
May copy sa sir sa YouTube na video natin. Ay, na video niyo.
Meron. You can have it sa YouTube. JT, bakit di ako makashare? Binablock mo ba?
Day po, sir. Nag-ano lang po. Naghahalat lang po ako.
Salidahan na din sa laptop ko. Ayan. Ano ba to? Share na kaya? Parang ayaw na ako ipa to. Yan. Ka-share na ba?
Ma-present po ka mo, sir? Ma-present po ka mo, sir?
Oo. Ano yung represent? Oh, sorry, an error has occurred. I'm sorry. Problema nito. Lulong ako nito. Sayang naman kasi ng PowerPoint. Inayos ko pa to. Bakit ayaw mag-share? Pag ayaw na, closing remarks na tayo.
After
Ano raw? Meron pa ba kayong icebreaker dyan? Habang hinihintay ko to na mag-share yung screen.
Tunaw na.
Iba pa po.
Meron pa. Sige, go ahead.
Difficult round.
Sige. Mag-leave ako sa meeting and then balik ako ulit para makashare.
Okay po, sir.
Hindi ko nakabati.
Sige na yung mag-icebreaker ulit.
Ako po, sir. Wait lang po. Ayan. Nakikita nyo na po ba yung presentation? Okay. We will continue for round 3, the difficult round. So, the same thing, you can comment your answer with the number of the question. Difficult category, true or false. Number 1 question, 0 divided by 0 is undefined, true or false? Wait lang ha.
Pinsang mic.
The answer is false because it's indeterminate. The first one who got the answer was false. Matthew Esparago. Congratulations. Okay, the second question for difficult category. A right triangle ABC is given where angle B is equals to 90 degrees. Which side of the triangle is the longest? Side po ang tigahapot. Side po. Bako angle. Okay, si Macho Esparago got the correct answer. Side AC. The answer is side AC or CA. For difficult category, number 3 question. What is the geometric name given to a straight line which touches the circumference of a circle at one point only? What is the geometric name? What is the geometric name given to the straight line which touches the circumference of circle at one point only?
Again?
The answer is tangent.
Kobe Bryant, Almas.
The first one who got the correct answer was Celine. Ay, the isa ron mark ko may... Ay. Wait lang ha, wait lang. Kobe. Si Kobe po ang nakakuha ng tamang sagot. The first one who got the correct answer. The fourth question. What is a 15-sided polygon? What is a 15-sided polygon? What is a 15-sided polygon? The answer is pentadecagon. TV po nag-get the correct answer. The first one who got the correct answer. Okay? Okay, the last question for the difficult category. The last question, if sine 53 degrees is equals to n, what does sine negative 53 degrees is equals to?
Ulit daw, JP.
There's someone who got the correct answer. It was Jonalyn Futalan. The answer was negative n. Wait lang po, nawara po ang connection ko sa account. But Jonalyn got the correct answer. So that was the last question for the difficult round. To sum up, let's Miss Susan will summarize. Will summarize the result.
Correction, it's not Miss Susan. The scores, the tally of scores. Alexis Mangarin got 1. Romel Habig 1. Jonalyn Putalan 2 points. John Daniel Tatel 1 point. Matthew Esparago 2 points. Celine Gitana 1 point. Phoebe Funa 2 points. Grace Ann Enano 2 points. Joanne Lazor. So we have a tiebreaker. Tiebreaker. 4. We have 4 who got 2 points.